Hi everyone, welcome to Grace Place Farm and Gardens. My name is Mason Prescott and this is the Build Your Own Farm Store series. Today I'm joined by Austin Chappelle and we're going to be talking about value-added goods, stock, and everything you might want to be putting in your farm store. Let's get to it. Okay, so today we're joined by Austin Chappelle, and Austin helps in our kitchen on the farm, and he helps create all of our value-added products. He's a whiz in the kitchen and is really great in a pinch when it comes to figuring out quick solutions to every single piece of produce that I throw at him. So no matter whether it be a surplus of cucumbers or a whole wave of tomatoes, Austin's great at finding awesome, delicious recipes. And so I have him on here today to share with you guys, one, some of the products that we've chosen to produce in our store, and then two, talk about some things that you should be considering and thinking about when it comes to putting and stocking product in your farm store. So without further ado, Austin, talk to us a little bit about what kind of qualifies as a value-added product.
Definitely. So if I have a tomato, that tomato is only good for a week, 2 weeks at best. But if I can take that tomato and turn it into something that could create more value from that single product, that's greater than the value of that product itself, that's truly what a value add is when you look at it from an economic standpoint. So if I have a tomato, I turn it into a salsa, I could not sell my tomatoes and end up throwing it to the chickens, or I could take my tomato and turn it into a salsa, make $12 a jar.
Right.
And we've turned something that was once $5 a pound into $12 a jar.
There's always great options on the farm to find solutions for what you got. And talking about product, I would like you to share a little bit with everyone, where do they even start with taking their own produce and converting it into something sellable?
Totally. I think the big thing is you have to know you have all the experience you need to choose what products you're going to make, or maybe not all, but you have most of the experience that you need. You know what you never eat in your pantry. You know what you always go for as a staple at the grocery store. And you know what other people like and what other people eat. And you probably have friends that could help you out with tasting. So that in and of itself is about 80% of the battle with creating food and products for your farm store. I get all this produce from Mason, from James, from all the people on the farm, and they say, our walk-in stuff full of cabbage. I'm thinking, what the heck do I do with a walk-in full of cabbage? But then I think, what's made out of cabbage? Sauerkraut. I love sauerkraut. I love the taste of it. And so what we did our first year was we created sauerkraut by mixing in salt and cabbage. Then after that, we began to riff on it, added in a little bit of spice. And speaking of spice, I love spice. We grow hot peppers. We grow super hots. We grow Thai chilies. We grow cayennes. We do a lot of cayenne pepper. And we also grow jalapenos, because jalapenos are stock for salsa. It's stock for pretty much anything you want. Pepper sauce, that type of stuff.
And that's great. Actually, we brought a few things out here to show everyone. So these are our spicy pickle chips. And what all did you put in these spicy pickle chips?
So speaking of riffing on something you've already done, we already had a pickle that a lot of people loved. And so I thought, I love spice. I'm passionate about spice. We got a lot of these jalapenos coming in. They're all turning red. I'm gonna add those into the jar. So I took jalapenos, added them to our normal recipe, and it created a spicy pickle. And I'll tell you what, it actually is really tasty.
Nice. We got a couple other favorites here. We've got the pasta sauce.
The famous pasta sauce. Now with this, I had never made pasta sauce before. So this one I geeked out, went on YouTube University and found out how do you actually get a quality pasta sauce, not with all the seeds and the skins in it, but how do you get it to where it's a quality texture? What would an Italian grandma do? So I put myself into that shoes, and that's how I came up with this. And maybe talk a little bit about tools that I would always recommend you get when we talk about this a little bit later.
Excellent. And I also want you to share a little bit about this guy here, because not too many people are familiar with kombucha, depending on where you're at in the US. I know it's more favored out in the West Coast, but we're out here in the Midwest. So talk to us about that.
So I love kombucha. It's a bubbly probiotic drink. It's something that helps out your gut. Like I talked about value add, this adds value to people's health. I love it because it's sweet, and you can use produce from your own farm. We have our watermelon basil, call it bright melon. And this actually is our own watermelon, our own basil, grown here on the farm, and we fermented out the tea. And it's something I didn't know how to do initially, But after research, after talking to a couple of local producers, I figured out a plan and a way to get it done. And since then, it's been a hit.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because in terms of reaching out and talking to people, I know you made a great connection with some of our local extension people, where they were able to answer a lot of questions. And one of those questions that comes up a lot, especially when creating product, is cottage food laws. So if you're unaware, your state has its own regulations and cottage food laws that you're gonna have to check in with and figure out what it takes. So why don't you share a little about how do you figure out what your cottage food laws are and who can you talk to?
Definitely. So the big thing is, I didn't know anything about food 2 years ago when we started this. I knew how to cook, but I did not know how to preserve things to the state standard to be able to sell. So we enrolled in our local extensions course for cottage food law. So it goes through all the training that you're gonna need to make products. But the biggest help for me has been, after going through and getting that certification, is actually reaching out to the people who are contracted by the state to teach you and to help you out with things.
Right.
And so our local representative has been an immense help in many pinches to help me figure out, is this good? How do I reckon how to preserve this? Because it's not always that you can just take a tomato and preserve it. You need to produce something that's acidified here in South Dakota. You can't do pressure can good. And so it's not that you can't preserve it, it's how can you preserve it?
Right, that's good. Something else, and we're talking about the products, what have been some of our biggest staples, you would say?
Our biggest staples, I think, in the store are our pickles in the refrigerated section. For sure, our eggs. Obviously, I don't help produce the eggs. But our kombucha has been a big hit. And then our frozen chicken. And you could even argue that our sauerkraut did really well the first year. So,
oh, for sure. People are always gonna be coming for your eggs, they're gonna be coming for your chicken. So keep those things stocked and keep those things there, because that's gonna bring more customers in. And the more people that are there, they're gonna be looking at everything else. And that's giving all the more opportunities for sales for your other products that might not be as exciting as the fan favorites. Something else we want to talk about a little bit is not just our food products, but a little bit about, we have merchandise in here. We've got hats, tote bags, t-shirts. So all these different things are just something we thought would be really fun, kind of added in. You might have some people who are really excited about your farm, or want to be able to represent and help kind of spread the good news of, hey, we've got an organic or local farm place where we can buy our fresh produce. So it's fun being able to have those opportunities there. You can look for something local or maybe an online brand to branch out and find an option for you. You might also notice behind me, I have some not so much farm products. Don't feel stuck like you just have to do stuff from your farm. Find out what your customers like, what they might need or what they might enjoy. Again, anything that can help drive more traffic or help out your customer experience. So we've got some sparkling beverages and other things as well to offer our customers. All right, let's go ahead and land this thing. We're asking one more question of Austin. I would like you to go ahead and share a little bit about some of your favorite tools, and I would say some of the necessities that come to getting started with preserving your own food and working in the kitchen.
Definitely. So you got to have, first of all, a great set of knives, knives that are going to be reliable and sharp, good cutting boards, and good pots and pans. I use pots and pans every single day. I like big pots. So just get a bunch of pots and get a bunch of bowls. I like metal bowls. I like to have bowls all over the counter, so I have different categories I can compartmentalize things into. If you have those basic things, which you probably have some of those in your kitchen, but get a little bit more, you're gonna be off to a great start. And then you can move into things like freeze dryers and dehydrators, which are all necessary and open up a lot of avenues for processing your food. And then you get to use, I mentioned this earlier, something to make the tomato sauce that I absolutely love is the Fabio Leonardi tomato mill. I like a tomato mill because it helps me make pasta sauce, it helps me make applesauce, it'll do mashed potatoes, it does all these different types of things, but it's a unique appliance that I really recommend. If you're gonna do pasta sauce or anything of that nature, get one.
That machine is a beast. I've watched it in action. So, well, thank you guys again so much for joining us for the Build Your Own Farm Story episode on produce, on stocking your farm store. We're really excited to continue on this journey. Join us next episode. We're gonna get into the fun admin side of things, talking about POS system and managing a customer database. So we'll see you there.